about the carbon dioxide, obviously you know that since it is a gas, it is present in the atmosphere. So that comes from the atmosphere. Water molecule, that is H2O. Obviously, you know that whenever you plant something, you pour the water towards the soil and not on the leaf and everything, right? Why? Because soil is the part wherein the roots are present and the roots will be absorbing the water. So this water is taken from the soil with the help of roots. Then comes all the other nutrients that the plant requires, such as nitrogen, iron, phosphorus, magnesium. All of these nutrients, they are also taken from the soil. And when we talk about the nitrogen, so this nitrogen is particularly taken in the form of nitrates or nitrites. And how does the nitrates and nitrites are formed? So they are formed with the help of nitrogen fixing bacteria. Now, what they do is that they convert the nitrogen that is present in the atmosphere into nitrates and nitrites. Now, why do they do so? So that every single plant can be able to take, or you can say uptake, that nitrogen molecule in the form of nitrates. So, when we talk about nitrates or nitrites, so these are the oxides of nitrogen. This much is clear, students?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. Okay, now everyone, didn't I ask you all to switch on your videos? Everyone switch on your videos and keep it switched on until I ask you to switch it off. Faizan, switch on your video. So with this, we have actually completed the autotrophic mode of nutrition through and through. Now moving forward to the heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Heterotrophic mode of nutrition is that kind of a nutrition wherein the organism cannot make its own food. They are dependent on the other organism for their survival. So there are multiple ways by which the organism can acquire their food or nutrients, such as the first type of heterotrophic nutrition is saprophytic. Saprophytic nutrition is done by the fungi, the fungus. Now, what does it do? It feeds on the dead and decaying organic matter. So, when it feeds on it, it absorbs the nutrients which are present in the dead and the decaying organic matter. Then the next mode of nutrition under heterotrophic is parasitic mode of nutrition. Now, when we talk about parasitism, have you people ever heard about parasites before? What do parasites do? Tell me, what does a parasite do? They are your friends? They talk to you? I hope not. So what does a
No.
parasite do?
It gets its food from like lives
Eh?
on like host organisms.
Yeah, so ultimately it causes or affects the host, right? It causes a disease in them, isn't it? So parasitic mode of nutrition is that kind of a nutrition wherein the organism, which is a parasite, it derives its nutrition from the host organism, thereby causing diseases in the host organism. Now, there are two kinds of parasites. There is endoparasite and ectoparasite. When we talk about endo and ecto, these are in terms of position. So, endo means inside, ecto means outside. So, all those parasites that are present inside the body of the host, we call them as endoparasite. And all those parasites that are present outside the body of the host, we call them as ectoparasite. Now, talking about the examples of the endoparasites, so we have viruses, we have worms. They are present inside the body. Now, they are not present outside. But when you talk about the lices, right, hair lices, then ticks in dogs and cats, then leeches, all of these are present on top of the body and they don't go inside the body. So they are ectoparasites. So this is the second heterotrophic mode of nutrition. After that comes along the third one, which is decomposer. Now, decomposer is just like saprophytic mode of nutrition, wherein the organism would feed upon the dead and decaying stuff and convert it into simple absorbable forms. This one is done by earthworm and fungi yet again. And because of this very reason, the earthworm is very commonly called as the farmer's friend. Why so? Because since earthworm is a very good decomposer, so when it digests the dead and like decaying organic matter, it releases, you can say, a lot of minerals and elements and nutrients into the soil. So it makes the nutrients and minerals available to the plants, and that is the reason why we call earthworm as the farmer's friend. Then some of the other examples. Now, whenever we think about a plant, we always think that they are autotroph, isn't it? We always think that they can make their own food. But then there are certain plant species that cannot make their own food. And those are such as Cuscuta. Cuscuta is like commonly known as amarbale, and it is a parasitic plant. So it will be deriving its nutrition from the host plant. So it doesn't make its own food. It does not have chlorophyll. So do you think that the Cuscuta will be green in color? It's a plant. So should it be green in color? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Everyone agrees it should be green in color. So if it would be green in color, then why wouldn't not do like photosynthesis? If it is green in color, then that means that it has chlorophyll. And if it has chlorophyll, then that means it can do photosynthesis. So this for this very reason, Cuscuta is not green in color. Why? Because I have already told you that it is a parasitic plant. It cannot make its own food. That is why it has to go for another nutrition mode, that is heterotrophic nutrition. Have you people ever heard about any other parasitic plant or any other kind of plant that is not autotrophic? No, none of you. Any plant that is not autotrophic. It cannot do photosynthesis.
Amoeba.
Amoeba is a plant.
No, it can't do photosynthesis.
Who said this?
Ion.
Ma'am, desert plants.
Desert plants. No, desert plants like cactus.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, they can do photosynthesis, but at the night, not in the day.
Yeah, very good. Yes, they can do photosynthesis. So we can't consider them as heterotrophic, right? And Ayan, the question was of plants. So in terms of plants, do you know any plant that does not do photosynthesis? First of all, you switch on your video. Everyone has their video switched on and yours is off. And also Fezan's, I don't know his problem. But you please switch on your video. Now tell me. I hope amoeba is not a plant.
Yes.
Okay, have you people ever heard about Venus flytrap? None of you have ever heard about Venus flytrap?
No, ma'am, heard pitcher plant also it is there.
Yeah, pitcher plant, Venus flytrap. What are they? They are insectivorous plants, right? They are those plants that eat insects. How bizarre it is to know that. But see, the Venus flytrap, it actually looks like it has a mouth, sort of like this. So whenever it has it is open such a way, and whenever any insect comes and sit along, then it closes and then secretes digestive enzymes or certain enzymes because of which it derives the nutrition. So again, that is also not autotrophic, right? Normally, whenever we think about plants, we think about photosynthesis, that they have the green color pigment chlorophyll and they'll do photosynthesis. But that's not the case every time. Clear? And as you all know that biology is a science of exceptions. So we have so many exceptions, right? Now then comes amoeba. Now we'll come on to amoeba. Now amoeba, it procures its food with the help of formation of a food vacuole. It makes a food vacuole with its false feet, meaning pseudopodia. The word pseudo means false, podia refers to feet. So whenever the food comes in vicinity of the amoeba, meaning near it, what does it do? It draws out its pseudopodia, engulfs the food and takes it inside. So that is how amoeba procures its food. It cannot make or synthesize its own food. Then comes paramecium. Now see, paramecium is the organism that has cilia present all over its body surface, all over, throughout. Cilia is tiny hair-like projections that are there on the surface of the cell, and it procures its food, meaning it takes the food with the help of cilia. So are all of these different kinds of heterotrophic mode of nutrition clear to you all? Clear?
Yeah.
Any doubt?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Now moving forward, we'll talk about the nutrition in us humans, right? It is very different. Can any human being do photosynthesis?
No.
Sure.
Yes.
Is there anyone in my class that can do photosynthesis? All right. Yeah, you people are right. So the kind of nutrition that you can say is present in human beings is known as holozoic mode of nutrition. Now, what is holozoic mode of nutrition? This is the kind of nutrition wherein the organism procures the food as whole and then digests it into his or her body. That is holozoic mode of nutrition. So just like how we do, whenever we eat something, we are putting it in our mouth, we chew it, we swallow it, and then it goes inside our digestive system. Then it gets digested in our body, and then we derive the energy from it. So that kind of a mode of nutrition is called as holozoic mode of nutrition. Now talking about the holozoic mode of nutrition, or in order to get energy, we have a proper digestive system. And our digestive system is made up of majorly two things. The first one is the alimentary canal, and the second one is the digestive glands. Now, alimentary canal is the part, or you can say the whole entire pathway that starts from the mouth and ends at the anus. That whole entire pathway is the alimentary canal. Pay attention to the spelling. It does not start with an E, it starts with an A. Like we say elementary school, so we write E for that elementary, but this one is starting from A. So pay attention to that. Now, the second component, as I said, are the digestive glands. So without digestive glands, no digestion can ever be completed. Why? Because digestive glands are those secretions in our body that are responsible for digesting, or you can say simplifying, the complex food substances into simpler ones. You getting my point? Is it clear to everyone?
Yes.
All right. Now, when we talk about the digestive glands, there are three major digestive glands in our body. The first one is the liver, which is the largest gland of our body. It is the largest gland of our body. Then comes the pancreas, and lastly, there is the salivary glands. So these glands, they sort of work in a very coordinated manner, and they know when their role comes along. Okay, so our whole entire digestive system, it has two components. Alimentary canal that starts from the mouth, ends at the anus. Second is the digestive gland that has three major glands in it: liver, pancreas, and salivary gland, out of which liver is the largest. Okay, students? Now moving forward, talking about the steps that are there in the nutrition of us, meaning the holozoic mode of nutrition. So it starts with ingestion. What is the meaning of ingestion, students? Does anyone know? Ingestion.
Taking in food.
Correct. Exactly. Very good. Taking in of the food is termed as ingestion, right? Whenever we eat, that is ingestion. Okay. After the ingestion has been done, we move on to the second step, that is digestion, meaning the food substances that we have eaten or ingested, they'll get digested in the body. So second step is digestion. After the food has been digested, meaning it has been converted into simpler substances, so now they'll be absorbed. So the third step is absorption. Now, after the food has been absorbed, still there are so many parts in the body wherein the nutrition is required. So it has to be distributed to the parts of the body. So that distribution is known as assimilation. And lastly, whatever is the waste product, whatever is the part of the food that did not get digested, it will get egestion, like egested out, meaning it will get excreted out of the body. So that is like the basically you can say in the nutshell, this is how the nutrition in human beings take place. Ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation, and egestion, 5 steps. Now, you people know down till here, then we'll move forward as to how it actually takes place. And does anyone have any doubts up until now? If you have any doubts, students, you feel free to ask me, okay? Don't hesitate. Even if your doubt is smaller or tiny, it doesn't matter. If you have any doubt, feel free to ask. All right, now since you're writing, you can switch off your videos and write comfortably. Done, students? Students, are you done? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Done, students?
Yes.
Yes.
Done, students?
Yes.
All right. Now moving forward, talking about how does the process of digestion take place. So the first thing that a person does is take the food and put it in the mouth. Now the mouth has been provided with a muscular tongue and it has been provided with teeth. So the teeth chews the food and the tongue helps uh, the mouth, or you can say the buccal cavity, to masticate the food, to make it wet with the help of saliva. Now, while the person is chewing the food, then the saliva has an enzyme called as salivary amylase. Now, this enzyme, it particularly acts on the carbohydrate component of the food and it digests 30% of the carbohydrates right there in the mouth. So, when a person eats the food, 30% of the carbohydrate component of the food gets digested in the mouth itself by the action of the salivary amylase. Now, after that is done, the food is pushed down and it is sent, like we swallow it, and then it is sent to the esophagus. Now, esophagus is the food pipe and it is a long tube that is responsible for carrying the food from the mouth up until the stomach. Now, how does the food go through the food pipe or the esophagus? So that is because of the peristalsis movement. Now, peristalsis movement is that kind of a movement wherein the contraction and relaxation of the esophagus muscles take place. So first it contracts, then it relaxes. It contracts, then it relaxes. Because of that, the food is sent down into the stomach ultimately. Now, when we talk about the stomach, so it is a large J-shaped organ. It is a storage structure. First of all, the food that we eat, it gets stored in the stomach. And after, you can say 3 to 4 hours, the wall of the stomach, it starts releasing three kinds of secretions. The first one is hydrochloric acid. Then there is pepsin. And lastly, there is the mucus. Now, hydrochloric acid, this is responsible for physically breaking down the food, meaning creating the foods into even smaller particles. And we know that hydrochloric acid is a very concentrated, strong acid. So, what does it do? It creates an acidic medium in the stomach. And then what does it do? It physically breaks down the food by creating that acidic. Then the protein component of the food gets digested by the enzyme called as pepsin, which is again released by the wall of the stomach. Now, we know that the hydrochloric acid is a very strong acid. So, why does it not destroy our stomach? So, it cannot destroy our stomach because of the mucus that is present in it. The mucus present in our stomach is responsible for protecting the wall of the stomach from the hydrochloric acid action. So that is the function of mucus. So now all of these three things, like I told you, they are released by the walls of the stomach. And now once the food has been digested, now the food is moving into the small intestine, wherein the complete digestion of the food will take place. Now, once the food goes from the stomach to the small intestine, it is regulated by a sphincter muscle, sort of like a pathway or a gate. When that gate opens, then only the food will go into the small intestine, or else it can't. And it is also there so that the food does not go back. So that is why sphincter muscle is present at the junction of the stomach and the small intestine. Any doubts up until now?
No.
Talking about the small intestine, so it is the largest part of the alimentary canal. It is the largest and the longest part. And this is the site of complete digestion of the food, meaning every single component of the food, it gets digested in the small intestine. Clear?
Yes.
All right. Now you can note it down.
Teacher, what is sphincter?
Sphincter is a muscle. It is the name of a muscle. Sort of like you can imagine it like a valve. When it opens, then it will allow the entry or exit. When it closes, then it will not allow anything to come in or to go out.
How does it open, ma'am?
Yes,
How does it open?
it opens by the pressure. For example, if the food is now ready to be released into another organ, so with the pressure of the food also, and it is also opened by the neural mechanism. The brain tells it to open.
Okay, ma'am.